Angular dimensioning. First thing that I will do is go to my MoDOT CAD detailing standards, go to the design ribbon, and underneath general annotation I will select the one that says dimension small decimal. So now whenever I go back to my drawing workflow, now I can come in here and I can see my other dimensioning options, and this time I will go ahead and select the one that says dimension angular. Now underneath the dimension angular, basically you have the same options just like underneath your element dimensioning for your alignment and also your location. And then you have these different icons across the bottom here for your different dimension angular options. You have angle size, you have angle location, angle between lines, arc size, and arc stacked. And of course you have this down arrow where you can turn off or on certain things about your dimensioning whenever you want to place it. So the first tool that we're going to select is this one that says angle size. First thing that's going to ask is your start point, and I will use this as my start point. Now I'll enter a point on the axis, which is this point right here, and then now you identify where you want to dimension to. So I will snap to this point right here. Now I can pull it in or out depending on where I want to drop the dimension off at. I'll left click somewhere in here to drop it off. And now if I keep going, I can go to another point, and basically it'll dimension off of this point right here to that next point that you want to go to. And I could keep going if I wish, but that's basically how the tool works. So now if I'm done with it, I'll just right click to reset it, and now I have the angle between this right here and also the angle between this right here as a dimension. So that's using this first one that says angle size inside of the angular dimensioning tool. The second one is angle location, and basically this one here are the exact same steps as the previous one, but it's going to be anchored from this very first point right here. Kind of similar to where you have your linear size and your linear stacked. It's kind of the same concept. So I will identify this as my start point. I'll enter the point on the axis, which is this right here. And now I'll go ahead and snap to this point to place that dimension. Figure out how far I want to drop it off at. This looks good, so I'll left click to place it. And now if I keep going, you'll see that it's still anchored from this very first point. So if I go to this point right here, it'll angle between that point to this point. And if I were to keep going, it would keep dimensioning from that beginning point that I selected. So that's what the angle size does. The next one is the angle between lines. This is pretty well self-explanatory. I will just select the first line, I will select the second line, and depending on which side that I want to drop the dimension off will determine where it's going to place that dimension. So if this is where I want it, I'll left click to place it, and now I'm finished. So that's the angle between. You just select the first element, select the second element, place it, and you're finished. The next one is the arc size. On this one here, I will select the start of the dimension. I will select the end of the dimension, which I'll just use the center point for this example, and then I will pull it up or down depending on where I want to place it at. And if I want to keep going, I could keep doing that, just like what I'm doing right now. So that's what this tool allows you to do, is the arc size. And then of course the last one is the arc stacked, which of course go from the beginning point that you select and dimension everything from that beginning point along that arc. So if I select this point here, I will select the midpoint and I will drop the dimension off. Now if I keep going, you'll see that it's anchoring from this very first point. And then once I'm finished with it, I will right click to reset it, and now I'm finished. So that's what these tools right here will allow you to do for your angle dimension. You have angle size, you have angle location, between lines, arc size, and arc stacked.